What's up, you guys? My name is Zach Hartley, and today I'm going to be doing a quick update video on my Air Canada options as well as the trends I'm seeing in the coronavirus. Okay, so real quick, I've made a couple of videos about Air Canada. I made a video, I'll link it below, about where I bought Air Canada, and then I made a video yesterday about just an update on it. Today I'm making another video because we had a 7% swing in Air Canada when I woke up this morning. And jump into my screen right here. You can see that this is the ascending triangle we drew out yesterday, and today we had an open and we're currently sitting much higher than the upper band of that triangle. So we have broken out of that triangle, and you can also see that this green line here, I drew this in my first video, and this is my break-even point for my options that expire in October. So I'm still 5 months out from expiring on these options, and we're like $1.50 away from break even on them. So this is amazing because the market price of those options has significantly changed even since yesterday. So I'm going to go to my account right here. This is my history. Let's see my holdings. And this is pretty amazing. So if we scroll down, we can see the exact same options that I had yesterday, and they are now up to 59%. So really amazing. This was such a great decision. Instead of buying the stock, we bought the options, and they're paying off tremendously. I now fully expect us to get above my break-even point before October, and I think these options are going to be possibly one of the best investments I've made all year. So if you're interested in seeing the videos about how I made this trade and a little bit more about the trade, definitely check the links below. But I want to show you what I'm seeing in the world of coronavirus. So I use this website, worldometer.info. I just type in COVID numbers, and it's like the first link in Google. I use this one because it's really good at displaying graphs. So I want to show you just the data that I've been looking at and why I think it's important. Now, some of these graphs are really important, but the one that I'm really interested in is this one. So daily cases worldwide. I find this one to be super important to me, at least. Now, first of all, one trend or one thing I want to point out here is you'll notice that there's a high on April 3rd, there's a high on April 10th, there's a high on April 17th, and there's a high on April 24th. For some reason, we are counting way more cases once every 7 days than we are any other day. I don't know why. I assume it probably has to do with a weekend or staffing, or more people are just being tested on that day. I have no idea why, but there's like a weekly trend based on the amount of tests I assume can be done. So first of all, kind of weird. But what I want to point out is end of March, beginning of April, never did any of these cases reach 100,000 cases per day. This one did. It reached 102 at the very end of April, and then we stayed below 100, below 100, below 100. And then at the very end of May, we had 3 days where we were over 100,000 new cases per day. A little bit concerning compared to the 4 weeks prior to that. That was at the end of May. We're now at the beginning of June, and we have now had 8 days in a row where we are above 100,000 new cases per day. What does this signal to me? Well, it signals that we have not beat COVID yet. The world has not beat COVID yet. And unfortunately, the number of new cases every single day is still growing. It's not even that there's still new cases every day, it's that that number is still increasing, which in my mind is a little bit worrisome. So the problem here is that this is a world chart. Let's look at some countries, and this is really interesting because what you'll see in Canada and the US is completely different than worldwide. So let's just get into it, and I will show you. I might skip forward to it. COVID-19. Coronavirus, we're going to go by countries, and we're going to go to USA to start. We're going to look at the exact same graph, so the new cases per day, daily new cases, and you can see a very clear trend downwards. We're at 20,000 cases a day compared to 34. So the US number is going down. The world number is going up. You're going to see the same thing when we go to Canada. So I'll go back here. I'm going to look for Canada. We're ranked number like 15 right now or something. Yeah. So Canada, this is where I am right now. I'm currently in Calgary, Alberta, and as you can see, again, we're clearly on the downward trend. We're at 600 cases, 700 cases, 900 cases compared to 15, 17, 16, 1,800 cases at the end of April. So us compared to a month ago, Canada and the United States compared to a month ago, we're doing much better than we were before. Now, where this gets scary and where like where I'm like, holy cow, is if you look at the largest population, second largest population in the world, that's India. If you look at India's charts, these charts are completely different. Daily new cases from absolutely zero all the way to 9,000 cases per day, and we are at a record high right now. This is a completely different chart than we saw for Canada and the United States, and it's like, holy cow, it's like the new world, the developed countries are handling this really well and starting to beat it, and these developing countries are gonna struggle. So this is India right now. Let's look at Brazil, another huge population in the world, and they're actually in second right now with number of cases. So again, clear uptrend in Brazil cases. So what I'm worried about here is Canada, the United States, Europe, some other countries are going to do well. They're going to be okay. Their numbers are going to slowly decrease. However, the larger populations, Brazil, India, other poorer countries, specifically Africa, those countries look like they could struggle more over the next 2 months than they did in the past, which is a complete contrast to Canada and the United States, as well as some other countries. So what I'm seeing here is global cases are increasing. Canada, the US, and Europe are doing okay with it, but these developing countries and developing nations look like they're really going to struggle with it. So I do have some concerns that we are not past the worst of COVID yet. I do have a little bit of concern that we're opening up too early, so I'm going to very carefully monitor all of my investments that are COVID sensitive, especially those Air Canada options that I'm in right now and that I pointed out earlier in this video, because if all of a sudden India and Brazil, those economies shut down and other countries continue to follow that, and Africa tightens up, that's going to have some impact on world travel, world economy, and it could mean some negative trading for us or some poor results. So we need to be prepared for that, and if we act accordingly and we are expecting that, we can also profit from that on some short selling. So we need to be really careful with how we handle it, but I wanted to point this out because what we're seeing in Canada and the United States is not the same as what's happening in a lot of other countries around the world, and I don't see that being covered in the news or anywhere else that I'm getting my media. So I really wanted to just point that out for you. If you guys got any value from this video, please show some love. I would really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you.